Yo, what it do, YouTube? It is your boy, Culture Shock. We're back with another video. We're here to talk about the Week 1 preview, and we got to talk about Josh Downs, which is a huge, huge injury update. Of course, this is going into Sunday, which is the first matchup against the Houston Texans and the Indianapolis Colts. The last time they played was for the AFC South, and the Colts wound up being maybe a play short of actually winning the division and potentially making the playoffs. This is a huge, huge game. Of course, this is a new season. It's time for a redemption tour. You know, Shane Steichen's coming back. Anthony Richardson's coming back. You got Jonathan Taylor, his duo being back there with them. This is the first chance we get to actually see these guys start the season together. The last time Jonathan Taylor was going through a contract situation, and he finally got it done. And now we get to see the duo that we always wanted to see. But of course, we got to start with Josh Downs. Josh Downs is, he got hurt in training camp with Nick Cross on a drill, which was unfortunate timing. Um, so Josh Downs, like I said, I predicted him to miss week 1 just so we can get him back at full strength. So he's not going to be available this game, which is unfortunate. But to each his own. We still have a lot of weapons on this offense. We got a young AD Mitchell who's waiting to prosper. He's been showing promise and potential in training camp and in the preseason. So hopefully he can get his shot to go. And with all of that being said, Alec Pierce is another guy who had a pretty good preseason and training camp rep. He's been talked highly from Shane Steichen and even Chris Ballard himself. He's just looking for an opportunity to go out there and display his true potential. He never really seen, you know, we never really seen the full Alec Pierce. We only got a few glimpses of him, and that's from deep ball scenarios. But I feel like what Chris Ballard mentioned previous times, if we actually get like a package or a scheme that actually fits his role and his actually play style in the system, I think we can actually see Alec Pierce take another leap into his game. So hopefully he can actually, see his time come up and actually get his chance to go out there and prove himself. So a lot of these guys have potential to maybe get more reps and actually make more explosive plays. With Josh Downs being out, it's just an opportunity for these guys. And of course, we want to see Josh Downs out there. That's pretty much Anthony Richardson's go-to guy, in my opinion. But with each his own, we still have a lot of weapons. We still got Michael Pittman Jr. out there. We got Jonathan Taylor. We got Tyler Goodson there. Evan Hall, if needed. I don't think so. But other than that, Trey Sermon's going to probably be playing, maybe not. We got a good tight end room, even though Jelani Woods is out for the year. We still got Colin Granson, Ogletree, and these guys. Mo Ali Cox, if needed. This offense is very dynamic. It was one of the best offenses last year, in my opinion, even without Anthony Richardson. So adding him into the fray, this team has a lot of heights that it can reach, and the potential is endless. So going into this matchup, of course, you're going up against a CJ Stroud Houston Texans coached by D'Amico Ryans, who's one of the most brilliant head coaches in the NFL. And that's not to take away from the Texans because this Texans team is really good. But like I said, when you look at this Texans team from on paper, from start to finish, offense and defense, they line up against anyone pretty much unstoppable, right? You got a new Stephon Diggs. You got Nico Collins coming back. You got Joe Mixon, and you got Dalton Schultz and these guys on the tight end room for the Texans. This team is out there to compete for a Super Bowl. I get it, but it's any given Sunday, right? And this team was not heads over heels in the AFC South of winning it. Of course, they were young and fresh, and they were like playing wise. They were probably highly requested to probably make the Super Bowl. But honestly, in my opinion, this team is not, head over heels over every other team in the AFC South. This AFC South is wide open. You got the Colts, you got the Jaguars, and you got the Texans. I almost said Titans by accident. But you got three teams that's possible to win this AFC South. So it is wide open. It's not guaranteed for the Texans to win this. Any team can step up and win this AFC South, and the Colts can be one of them. Now, with that being said, you gotta have a guy like Anthony Richardson he got to hit his stride. He got to get in motion, got to get in fluidity, and all of these things. He's still young. He's still trying to learn the quarterback position. He is the franchise quarterback, the staple. This is what the Colts want him to be. But in order that he has to hit his level and actually get into that next level, it just all comes down to reps, repetition, getting in the game, figuring it out. Slowing the game down, finding his speed, finding his match, and Shane Steichen has to see that as well. But with Shane Steichen as his head coach, it's not that hard because Shane Steichen is another mastermind in the NFL. The AFC South has a lot of good coaches. They really do. And, the fact that the Colts have one of those and to see where they went from last year, from the year before, they have 4 wins going into 9 with the backup quarterback, having Anthony Richardson come back from injury, having Jonathan Taylor to be back there with them in worst case scenarios, him being a dual threat highly is a good praise for this team. They have potential. When you look at this defense, that's where the concern comes in for a lot of people. Me personally, I do not have a really high concern for this team because honestly, the secondary is very young. You're throwing them out there in the fire. You're taking a huge gamble on them. I understand that. With Juju Brent's athleticism and these young corners going up against a lot of good receivers last year, it's going to be nothing but reps, right? It's going to be repetitions regardless of the situation, no matter if you bring someone in free agency or if you have these guys go out in general. In my opinion, these guys, this I think this organization has these guys, putting them out there on a gamble is making them they want them to be the cornerstone of this franchise. You want Juju Brents to be the next, maybe a Jalen Ramsey or a Jair Alexander, things of that potential. But Gus Bradley has to see that and plays to his strengths. He's got a long wingspan. He's very athletic, but speed wise, he probably can't match up with everybody. So it's going to be up to Gus Bradley to figure that out. Of course, this is week 1. You're going up against some top receivers like Nico Collins and Stephon Diggs. So we're going to have to see what Gus Bradley's going to draw up. Now, granted, Gus Bradley has guys like, DeForest Buckner, Grover Stewart, and Quiddy Pay of that nature. Then you got Latu coming from the draft. He might be on a rep restriction, so we don't know how many reps he's going to get. But he's young, he's ready. This team does have a good D line, and I think D line plays a huge role in the secondaries playing to their strengths. If you can put pressure on C.J. Stroud, I think you can get some success rates out of these young corners. And of course, that brings up the linebackers. I know Zaire Franklin, E.J. Speed got that covered up. I'm pretty sure they're going to be pretty good on week 1 against the Houston Texans. I think this is going to be an air raid offense from the Texans versus and a run stopping defense, which is the Colts. I think the Colts is going to have one of the best run stop defenses in the NFL. That's no question, no debate. And when it comes to the safety room, Nick Cross has earned his spot at the starting safety next to Julian Blackman. Both of these guys have a huge ceiling. The potential is endless for these guys. Julian Blackman played both spots, having Nick Cross, who pretty much impressed in training camp and preseason. He finally got his shot. It took him some time to actually get on the field, but he finally got it, and he played up to it, man. He's been doing it for a while, and I'm glad that he got his spot. Having Julian Blackman next to him, who's played both spots and knows the Gus Bradley system, he's been balling out. He just has to stay healthy. Is a good thing to have. It really is. So this team is young. It is bright. You're not going to win the Super Bowl tomorrow. It's not promised, but it's any given Sunday. This team does have a chance to make some noise in the AFC South alone and in the NFL. They just have to, stay healthy, be consistent, and not give up big plays. And I think that plays a lot to the D line because I think this defense relies heavily on the pass rush. So we're going to see what's going to happen if we make CJ Stroud nervous or put some pressure on him to make some bad reads, even though he is a genius behind that offensive line, which is pretty good as well. CJ Stroud is good. I will give him that. But the sophomore slump does exist too. So, I mean, you can say that for Anthony Richardson, but Anthony Richardson barely played last year. So I don't even know if that's going to exist at the moment. He's going to be in a slump because he hasn't played. But CJ Stroud's going to have to hit that wall eventually as well. So you can't knock out the Colts. You can't knock out any team, honestly, because quarterbacks are going to be nice at one point, but they're going to hit a wall as well, where they're going to be like, all right, maybe they got to slow it down a little bit and try to figure it out. So hopefully the Colts can put them up to the test and actually go out there and make some noise. Both of these teams are really good. Both of these teams have potential to put up 28 points. So it's going to be a showdown. It's going to really rely heavily on if this Colts defense can get some stops in the passing game. And if they do so, we're going to be in for a good game, man. We really are. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens with this offense, with the Colts offense, how it's going to look, and how this pass defense is going to look for the Colts as well. But all is said, you guys let me know your thoughts in the comment section for the score predictions, and let me know your thoughts about the game as well in general. And until next time, I will see you guys.